Welcome to JGTCR. I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the Ford Shelby GT350R. Let's get into it. As far as modern Mustangs go, this one isn't too bad, especially compared to some of the others we have driven. However, it still has some niggling issues that make it a chore to drive. The handling is good and works as intended, but gets erratic when it's unsettled. The steering does come in and out, and this makes it a bit unpredictable when it comes to turning in and also correcting mid-turn. The steering is actually quite decent when it works, but it's just really frustrating when it flounders. The power is very reasonable at just over 500 horsepower. It winds through the gears nicely and gets us to pace quickly. The power delivery is good for the most part. It does get peaky and a bit slide happy in the higher RPM, so short shift through the turns and wind it out on the straights. The brakes are okay, but a bit on the sloppy side. It likes to initiate drifts if we turn and brake at the same time, so use caution. That being said, the slowed down speed is reasonable and quite stable as long as it's in straight lines. Let's collect our time. 7 minutes 29.7 seconds. And now the race tune. When we first drive this Mustang, modified and untuned, it seems like a nightmare. Understeering and snappy tom all the way. But when dialed in, it becomes a pleasant daydream to drive. The handling is very responsive, even though our tune has focused on traction. The steering is firm and stable. It guides this Ford well on circuits, and while it may not be an acrobat, it certainly is considerably agile for what it is. The power is well refined. It is strong and runs through the revs easily, but it runs out of puff up top at around 8,000 RPM. Short shift around this area for best results. The power delivery has been subdued with our tune. It can still get out of hand at higher RPM while cornering, but is more than manageable with some throttle modulation and a bit of common sense. The brakes are rather iffy. Braking and turning often leads to some sliding from the tail end, but a little bit is okay, although it's very limited. Running the brake bias 3 points towards the front helps if it's too much. If there's anything to take away from this conversation, it's that the brakes like to be used in straight lines only. Let's collect our time. 6 minutes 20.4 seconds. And now the drift tune. This Mustang was one of my first drift builds on GT7. Unfortunately, as the updates rolled on, this tune was left behind, but now it has been revamped. The handling is very tidy. The vehicle moves well on track and is easily placed. The steering is quite pointed and makes this Mustang attentive on inputs. The power is clean and raw. No heavy spikes or peaks, it just gets the job done. The power delivery is mildly aggressive and only gets out of line if we are too heavy-handed. The Ford Shelby GT350R is a neat and well-packaged drift car. It is more suited to a drifter moving from beginner to intermediate level drifting. And now it's time to do an engine swap. Once again, the engine swap has destroyed any kind of balance and effectiveness this chassis has on circuit. The handling is incredibly impacted by the swap in every way. It understeers more, it oversteers more, it's more aggressive in how it moves, and we have less control overall. The steering works when low throttle is applied and kept off boost. Once power kicks in, everything goes haywire. The power is a major issue. It is erratic and comes on like a light switch. It's near impossible to wind out the gears as it's instant wheel spin when it gets on boost. The power delivery is clearly crapiola. It's either stay in control but bogged down in low RPM, or have the tail end whiplashing all over the place at high RPM. There is no in between. The brakes are sloppy and the tail likes to kick out. So straight line braking only, and make sure to brake early and pray. Let's collect our time. 7 minutes, 18.3 seconds. And now, the race tune. The expectation was that this swap would be a total disaster, but we were pleasantly surprised. This chassis handles a swap extremely well when tuned. The handling is pretty awesome. The Mustang is agile and easy to place on circuit. The steering is crisp and sharp. It has no issues executing our commands on inputs. The power is strong and easily runs through the gears with no real issues to speak of, besides being a touch peaky at higher RPM in the lower gears. From 4th gear onwards, this Mustang settles into turns extremely well. The power delivery is aggressive when it breaks traction, but it is reasonably well behaved if we stay on top of the grip situation. The brakes have improved and are fairly decent, but still have a slight tendency to throw the tail end going into turns, so brake early and stay in straight lines as best as possible. Let's collect our time. 6 minutes, 12.2 seconds. And now, the drift tune. This Mustang truly was a pain in the donkey to nail down. I'm convinced the Mustang chassis completely randomized their balance, as each has had massive issues corrected in vastly different ways. The handling is pretty awesome. This Mustang performs well on track and can be thrown about quite a bit. The steering stays decently balanced as we thrash the tail around, and the front end is stable and well pointed. The power is extremely aggressive and it lights up the tail end almost instantly. It can easily get away from us if we are not cautious on throttle inputs. The power delivery is equally extreme. We will need to be strategic in how we bring the revs up, time our transitions well, and execute them even better. including appropriate lifts and holds during the drift. That being said, we can be rough with it if we want to, but the results will be significantly less spectacular. The Shelby GT350R is a very solid drift car, but more for the advanced drifters to maximize its potential. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!